next generation of alerts and workflow for the ACPAC product line.
Okay.
So you're going to be hearing a lot more about that as that becomes official. We've already inked the agreement. We're just kind of in the process of doing some internal announcements, and then hopefully a formal press release will be made soon. But I think your initial request, as I recall, with Don Farber was how it works with Sage Abra.
That was the initial, yes. And I remember 2 or 3 years ago already look at Sage Knowledge Sync. However, because I think we haven't done enough groundwork to understand how basically it works in the real life, or we don't have enough cases where we can say, okay, this is example how it can work. So we haven't done really much on this much sales, right? But I think this is really a great opportunity, great product that fits very well within the solution portfolio that we have.
And you folks, again, it's one of those things where Sage Knowledge Sync is, as one partner describes it, it's kind of the Swiss Army knife.
That's correct.
There are lots of different parts to it, and depending on what you want to accomplish and how you want to accomplish that, it's going to, it's really going to vary on how it's used because it can do so much. But I think what we try to focus in on specifically is with customers using it for their primary business management applications, and that includes obviously their ERP and their accounting products, their CRM applications, their HR applications, and some other things too. But one of the great things about it is it's a very open platform, and because it will work with any application that utilizes an ODBC compliant database, the door is pretty wide open. So whether you want to run it with ACPAC, SQL Server, or you want to run it with Mass 90 or 200 from ProvideX, or you want to run it with just a standalone Microsoft Access application, or FoxPro, or Oracle, or whatever, Knowledge Sync can monitor and respond to any conditions within any of those applications. So because of that openness, if you will, and the flexibility, it gets a little tough to sort of, how do you create a message around that's compelling so that the customers say, I get it, first of all, and secondly, now I see how this would work in my environment.
Okay, so what I'm going to tell you a little bit about what my expectations are. I just want to share with you because I have seen Knowledge Sync already 1 year ago.
I'm going to put you on speakerphone. I remember you saying that you had seen it with Don.
That's correct. I saw a demo basically before. Now, what I want to see, and I will share with you, I'll be honest, basically, and because that's what the goal is of having this conversation is, that I need to understand how well it fits in comparison with another solution we are also looking at. Now, we don't have any specific client that we need it for. However, there are always clients I'm talking about, and once I have strengthened the understanding what it does, then there will be easy sell. What we've been looking also at some other solution called Task Center. As you probably know, right? Task Center, it's from Orbis Software. Now I need to understand Knowledge Sync and Task Center are somewhat similar and somewhat different, and I need to understand basically how they are compared. Sorry.
So I was going to say, I actually, we know Task Center very well.
Okay.
And obviously both of us work in the Sage space. We also work outside of the Sage space too. So we've got a lot of other software vendors and publishers that utilize Knowledge Sync. So is your number one question sort of what are the differences and similarities between those? Well,
yeah, we'll need to look at that also as well. I will leave you basically to decide what you want to do. Since I already have seen overall the demo, so what you can do, what you can focus is basically to outline what is new in Knowledge Sync since last 1 or 2 years since I saw the demo. There have been some new things. So beyond the setting up of alerts, SMS messages through mobile phone, setting up basically messaging rules, what is available in Task Center, and compared to in Knowledge Sync, apologize, what is new in Knowledge Sync, and then compared to Task Center. Since I have seen Task Center 2 months ago, So I've seen basically a few things what it does, but again, I know it doesn't do other stuff. So I think these two products are not necessarily competing products. They might be complementary products. Again, might be different case scenario where one product fits over the other, and that's what I would like to understand as well. So I will leave you basically decide. I have some information about knowledge sync, what it does, but I'm more interested to know what it does beyond simply sending alerts, messages, and workflows for notifications, SMS, and mobile phone and faxes, and how does it compare then to functions that Task Center has?
Okay, and what I will say in that regard, Roland, is that I don't have an intimate knowledge of what Task Center can and cannot do. What I do have is a product comparison sheet that was created by several of our partners.
Okay.
So what ended up happening was, as Task Center started to kind of move its way into some of the Sage applications, a lot of our business partners who had been, very fond of Knowledge Sync and still are, started to look at Task Center. And as a result, they had a lot of feedback on what they felt some of the strengths of Knowledge Sync were, and also what some of the strengths of Task Center were.
Okay.
So that I can email that to you, and again, this is in no way an attempt to disparage the Task Center product, because quite frankly, the way that we look at, and I think the folks at Task Center would probably agree, is Task Center seems to be more of a BPM, a business process management solution.
That is correct.
That offers some alerting capabilities.
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
So theirs is if you want to call it traditional workflow, whatever. Whereas Knowledge Sync or Sage Knowledge Sync is really focused on monitoring and a response. So that sort of alerts, the data mining and the alerting engine with some workflow capabilities. So I guess to put it succinctly, theirs is more of a BPM with some alerting. Ours is more of an alerting, monitoring, response engine with some workflow.
That's correct.
So the emphasis on Knowledge Sync is truly identifying those conditions that are important to your organization, identifying, monitoring, and then sending out, generating email alerts, but doing other things as well.
That is correct. That is correct.
And that's certainly what we can concentrate on today, is looking at some of those more enhanced features, if you will.
Exactly. That's what I would like to know. I know that Task Center, for instance, what they do actually, what the Knowledge Sync probably wouldn't, is that Task Center enables integration with other applications. So it could be ACPAC with whatever, and they can integrate that. So that's another core function of Knowledge Sync. Knowledge Sync is really, as you said, the core focus is alerting. And although the Task Center comes out of box, it's pretty generic, and I don't think the integration with ACPAC is so well as Knowledge Sync. So I'd like to understand basically what are your strengths. If you can show me what are the strengths of Knowledge Sync, how can I understand this client will need a Knowledge Sync requirement, that this client will need Knowledge Sync, and then basically it helps me to sell the product. So that's basically would be good. Okay.
Okay, good. Well, let's focus on that. And what I can do is, instead of keeping everything sort of structured, I can kind of go through some of the newer functionality with you to show you, kind of what we've done in the past, year and a half, 2 years since you've seen it. And if you have seen something, just stop me and let me know and say, I'm familiar with that. We can move on.
Okay.
I think, number one, let me put you back on speakerphone so I can go back into the application itself. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. I think one of the major benefits that we see within Knowledge Sync, Roland, over other business process management solutions is the ease of use. So one of the great things, and this is something that our partners will attest to, is some of these other applications out there, and I don't know how Task Center handles it, but some of them do require you to be fairly technical. And that's okay. If your organization has an IT department and you've got technical expertise, be it SQL or programming expertise in-house, then oftentimes you can take a single solution and tailor that to your specific organization's needs. However, with Sage Knowledge Sync, or Knowledge Sync as we'll call it right now, you don't have to do that. Okay, the query design wizard created in such a way that you don't need to be a programmer or having an engineering background. All you need to really know is the underlying database. So what database tables store what data? And if I know that, whether I'm a programmer or not, I'm going to be very able to easily configure my knowledge sync events. So if I want knowledge sync to monitor for X condition, all I need to know is what data or where is that data stored within my ACPAC database or my ABRA database or my Microsoft database, whatever. Where is that data stored? And if I know that, I can use this query design wizard, which you probably have seen before.
That's correct.
Because what we're really doing within Sage Knowledge Sync is we're just creating an ODBC data source connection between Knowledge Sync and the underlying database. So just by creating that connection, I now have access to all of the available tables within my underlying database. And again, whether that's a Sage application or some other third-party application or a homegrown application, Knowledge Sync will be able to connect and monitor to it. So the important part is, again, no technical expertise really required, as long as the individual has a fairly good understanding as to the database schema. What tables store what data, okay? Knowledge Sync will pretty much let you do the rest. So, and again, this all can look rather confusing to some people, but I've got to say that anyone that's ever worked with or designed a Crystal report or worked with a Crystal report will probably look at this and go, I see what you're doing.
I got it.
So that's kind of the extent of the technical expertise required, if you will.
Okay.
But a couple of other things that I think are pretty unique, and I'm going to open up an existing query instead of building a new one. A couple of other things within the query design is a lot of people tend to, and this goes for both customers and business partners, and what we try to do is get them to think in a broader sense, because what a lot of people think of when they think of Knowledge Sync is, oh, it's alerts, meaning it's reminders. And that's not just the case. What we want to make sure of is that people realize the power of Knowledge Sync being used above and beyond reminders, all right? Looking at things like exception management, looking at thresholds, looking at data integrity, is there data within the application that's incorrect? Is there an incorrect email address? Is there missing data? Are there fields in my application that people are not completing? Be it IDs or phone numbers or social security numbers, whatever it might be. So all of these things can be accomplished using Knowledge Sync. And again, it's one of those things where think beyond just reminders and alerts. Think about important things that are happening or not happening in your organization. One of the very creative ways in which Knowledge Sync's been used from a lot of customers now is looking at trend analysis. So looking at a customer's purchasing habits. So I might want to look at all of my key customers and determine that all of them buy on a regular basis and they buy $10,000 a month, every month. What if I want to know that changes? What if I want to look at that trend of their purchasing? And if that goes up or down by X percent, I may need to know about that, okay? So now you've gone beyond just a simple alert reminder into more of a business intelligence light, if you will. And all of that is done through some very creative filtering and operator conditions that we built into Knowledge Sync. So in addition to like a record level query, all right, that's going to look for a set of matching records in the database. For instance, show me all my customers whose receivables are over 90 days outstanding. That's a record level query. That's a fairly simple one. How about if I want to take that a step further and say, show me the total number of customers who have purchased a specific product during a specific time frame? I can do counts. I can do more arithmetic calculations, if you will. So what's interesting about this is, again, I'm not just looking for exceptions or whatever. I'm now looking for, again, sort of business intelligence. Show me this. So in addition to these record level queries, we also perform, or you can perform, what we call aggregate queries. And that would look at things like summarizing. We're averaging out the total number of days that a particular order is on back order, or an item is on back order, or counting the number of sales by sales rep. All those kinds of things can be done using any of these pre-configured operators. Okay, and beyond that, you've got the advanced calculations. So if I want to look at conditions between, say, 2 days, so show me the number of days between the date of an invoice and today's date, so I can calculate the actual total number of days between to find out how long that invoice has been outstanding. All these operators, all these advanced calculations are available within KnowledgeSync's Query Design Wizard. So it's a very, very powerful tool in looking at things beyond just your simple alerts.
That's
and
cool.
Actually, this has actually been redefined. It used to be called business activity monitoring. The analysts out there who are very big on creating labels around knowledge or around this type of technology have now coined the phrase operational business intelligence. And the distinction there is that operational business intelligence, KnowledgeSync, for instance, is delivering information to you and your constituents, be it your employees or your customers, suppliers, prospects, vendors. It's delivering information in real time when they need it, as opposed to the sort of more traditional business intelligence, which requires more sort of a rear-view mirror approach, because you're kind of looking at old data and you're making decisions about that older data, making decisions about your business going forward. But again, you're basing that all on historical data. Operational business intelligence is frontline. It's going to deliver that information to the right people when they need it so that they can do their jobs more effectively, more efficiently. So that's a major distinction between KnowledgeSync, and again, I don't know how Task Center handles that, but the messaging around that is very powerful to customers. And with the Query Design Wizard and the option to do all sorts of different filters, okay? So you don't have to just look for matching records. I can look for things that are similar to. I have one business partner. They do a corporate security application, and they OEM KnowledgeSync. And one of the things they wanted to do was they wanted to look for names in their database, which I think is using Microsoft SQL Server, but they wanted to look at names in their database, and then they wanted to compare to see if, in fact, that name resided within another database. So, and the reason for that is when you're doing corporate incident tracking, you want to look for potential suspects. If there is a crime committed within an organization, whether it's computer theft or a breaking and entering or anything like that, they want to be able to compare the names that have been logged in their database, their incident management database, and compare that to another database to see if, in fact, that person exists. So they've created some very unique events that look for names that reside both within their application and then compare that to similar names in other applications. And that's all by using some of these other operators at the filtering level. But again, I think one of the main differentiators that we have within KnowledgeSync is its ease of use. You can be up and running with Sage KnowledgeSync in a matter of hours. And, that's going to vary from one organization to another, depending on, one, how many events they want KnowledgeSync to monitor, so how many conditions they want it to look for. Do they want to automate the distribution of reports? Okay, very, very big part of it. But the key part here is, again, its ease of use, its simplicity. A lot of other BPM-type applications do require more technical expertise. They can be pretty time-intensive in terms of their initial setup and implementation. Sage KnowledgeSync is kind of a set it and let it do its job. So a couple of other things I'll point out very quickly here. Within the later release of KnowledgeSync, and let me see if I have one already configured here. I don't know that I do, but we'll check it out. So You probably are familiar. Are you familiar with Knowledge Sync's reporting ability?
I'm not familiar, but I have seen that when you saw it when you show it first time.
Yeah, that has existed for several years now. But
Yeah.
one of the unique things about Knowledge Sync is its ability to utilize Crystal Reports. Now, we embed the Crystal Reports runtime engine within Knowledge Sync so that if your customers have any reports that have been designed using Crystal, Knowledge Sync can automatically generate and distribute those reports in two different ways. One of which is what we refer to as a triggered report, meaning Knowledge Sync has identified a condition or set of conditions, and as part of that set of conditions being triggered, you want to automatically have a report generated and distributed to your customers or to your internal folks or whatever. And all of that's done within the event. So in this instance here, if you look at this event, which is looking at any balance, any account that has a balance over $25,000 that's aging over 30 days, I have a report that, based on this condition, is automatically going to generate the outstanding invoice or any of the open invoices for this customer. It's automatically going to generate it, and as part of the alert process, it's going to send out that email to the customer with any of their open invoices, and all of this is a Crystal report, and that can be done in any output style that is supported by Crystal, whether it's Microsoft Excel, PDF, XML, Word, whatever. All right, so that is what we refer to as a triggered report. However, one of the great things about Knowledge Sync is what we call a scheduled report. So your customers, more than likely, if they're using ACPAC or other applications, more than likely are somewhat, if not completely, reliant on Crystal reports. If that's the case, oftentimes what happens is they get in the habit of having to run reports on a daily, weekly, end of month, end of quarter schedule. With Knowledge Sync, you don't have to do that. If you've got a Crystal report that needs to be run on a regular basis, you simply tell Knowledge Sync what that report is, and it just can be, a management report or something to that effect. Okay? You then can point. Okay, this is what we refer to as a scheduled report. So as opposed to the triggered report that we just looked at, the scheduled report is one that's going to run on a recurring basis. But it's set up very similar as an event within Knowledge Sync in that all I'm doing is telling Knowledge Sync to point to that specific report, and if that report has any unique parameters, whether it's customer ID numbers, employee ID numbers, whatever those parameters are, they're automatically going to be shown down here in the bottom grid. And again, the output of this report can be in any format I want. Now, what's great about this is, again, now let's just say that I've got a half a dozen managers that want to make sure that every Monday morning at 8 o'clock, they want that report. That has got to be in their inbox or on their desk or both. All right? All I need to do is specify who those managers are. It could just be under the group called Executive Team. Okay? And just say, all right, this management report or whatever the report is going to be sent out to all my managers. I'm just going to email it to them, but I could fax it to them. I could do any of those. And I'm going to run it every Monday morning, at 9 o'clock. So at 9 o'clock, that is, and again, the schedule here, very, very flexible in the scheduling. So the frequency at which this report can be generated and distributed is entirely up to the individual. But in this case, at 9 o'clock, every single one of those managers is going to have a copy of that report in his or her email inbox, or as an instant message, or as a web dashboard or whatever. So that's a very, very critical part. And I'll tell you, the reason for that, Roland, is that the report distribution within Knowledge Sync is where customers will see immediate value. If they're at all reliant on Crystal reports for doing invoices or AR aging reports or sales and service reports or management reports, they're all relying on that. Knowledge Sync will deliver for them immediate value. And I mean, in some cases, almost an immediate return on investment. Because a lot of the things that they've been doing manually with their Crystal reports, i.e. manually running invoices, stuffing envelopes, using, paying postage to send them out, our customers are now using Knowledge Sync to automate the process of invoice delivery. So if you look at that and apply that across an organization for each and every type of reporting that a company does, that's a very powerful statement. That's a very powerful use of knowledge sync. One of the other more recent things that we did, I'll show you an output here example, and I don't know if you saw this when you first saw knowledge sync, but I'm going to kind of work my way backwards here, is a few years ago we added another option for delivery. So you might recall early on that we did email, which is perfectly fine. We started adding things like faxing and paging, etc. The dashboard alerts. And this is knowledge sync's ability to automatically distribute the alert or notification or data, if you will, in a dynamic web page. So it's going to go out in an HTML format. And what you're looking at here are real dashboards that we created. Actually, we didn't create the one on the bottom. I think that was done by one of our CRM customers. But in HTML, you've got something that, one, is more visually pleasing. Secondly, is dynamic. So every time the event runs, so if all I want to look at are any new sales opportunities coming in, I can have this displayed on my desktop, or I can have it sent to an Outlook folder, or I can reload. I can point this to whatever location I went to. It can pop up on a user's desktop. It can also go into an Outlook folder, etc. So the web dashboard alerts is becoming and has become quite popular just because people do want something that is going to be an attention grabber. First of all, it's going to be something that they're going to look at as opposed to a standard email. Now, to take that one step further, we have a new function referred to as the alerts portal. And I'm going to have to look for that one. No, I won't, actually. I think I've got that right here. Somewhere.
Now, Craig, these alerts, this is something that can be on an HTML page. Now, what could be an example of HTML page? Could be some e-commerce solution for salespeople they are going into, or what type of could be HTML? Could be any type of page. I don't understand, any type of internal page they have access to, right?
Yeah, I mean, really, they will determine the location
of that.
So there's
okay.
something that we would refer to in knowledge, we call it the webcasting location.
Okay.
What that means is when that event is triggered, I want to display this information where? And you literally will point that to where you want that to go. And
okay.
It can be user specific, so it can go to individuals. It can be department specific. You can even make it a general broadcast. So if I want to post this on like my company intranet, I can point it to that location. So now the dashboard is going to appear there.
Okay, good. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's one of the newer, and again, it's not all that new in that it's been out for a good 2.5 years or something like that. Let me just look for something here. I want to just go in and show you the alerts dashboard very quickly.
Oh, you have 233 unread emails.
I'm sorry?
You have 233 unread emails.
I've got 20,000 actually. And believe me, I wake up every morning to a warning from Microsoft Exchange telling me that I better clean my mailbox out. And I can't argue with that. I definitely have to. Now, I'll be darned if I can't find it. Hold on. This is a brand new, soon-to-be-released feature within Knowledge Sync, and it is referred to as I can't find it. Hold on one second.
It seems you need Google search.
I'm sorry? Yeah.
Seems
exactly.
You need Google search, right?
Just give me a second here. I
know
I can find it. Unless I foldered it. Yeah, I probably foldered it somewhere. So let me come back to that one here in a minute. So I thought I had bookmarked it. Apparently I did not. And I remember because when we were planning for this, tell you what, let's just hold on that one here for a minute. All right. Well, let me go back to the application because the other thing that we've done is we've expanded the offering of delivery methods. So in addition to the web dashboard that you just looked at, we now offer you the ability to send out your notifications through IM, so Instant Messenger, and Twitter.
Okay.
Okay, so when I actually go into an event, in addition to sending it out via email, and I think you pointed out through SMS and text message, which is all, they're used very widely today, okay, I can now send it out through Instant Messenger, okay, and I'm just, again, all I need to do is specify what data values from my event I want to appear in the body of that, you know, and I'm just going to literally type in the data field, and when that event runs, it's going to automatically deliver. I received some last night when I was testing it out. So Instant Messenger, we think, is big. Number one, because customers want real-time information. And although Knowledge Sync will deliver information in as near real-time as possible, it's still, if you're going through email, still dependent upon going through the email server, which may take some time to process. It's got to connect with the server, that sort of thing. With Instant Messenger, it's real time. So one of the great things is that your individuals, your customers, your users can get information about what's going on, pop up on their desktop using either Yahoo Instant Messenger, Google Talk, Windows Live Messenger, and any other instant messaging platform that uses something called ICQ. So the instant messenger capability is new. It was something that customers demanded or really screamed for, if you will, for about 2 years. And earlier this year, we finally released the general availability of Knowledge Sync 8.0, which included instant messenger and also Twitter. Now, Twitter does not sound like that big of a deal, and we think that this is going to probably take some time for it to get some traction. But the fact is that the social platform is playing a more predominant part in the business environment now. Companies are using it, and I think that most people in marketing have some Twitter feed set up that they're using for branding efforts, for marketing initiatives, et cetera. We're now starting to see customers use this for internal purposes. For instance, if I want to post all of my service tickets or my service items, I might want to put that on a Twitter feed. Knowledge Sync now gives you the ability to automatically post alert information to a Twitter feed or to a tweet. So again, we've not seen a tremendous amount in terms of people using that yet. It is still fairly new, but again, with the advent of social media platform in the work environment, it's bound to take hold at some point. Okay, and then still a little irritated with myself that I can't find that alerts dashboard thing. So just give me 1 second. Can you bear with me here?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
All right, good. I'm just going to shoot off a note, see if someone can send me that link. Because the alerts dashboard, the alerts dashboard, what we're calling it's actually being referred to as the alerts portal. And this is going to be very interesting because this is the first time where we're really opening up Knowledge Sync to the user population. Because what it's going to be is, or what it is, I should say, is it's basically just a web portal. It's a secure website that individuals within an organization that have Knowledge Sync can go to view all of the alerts that were sent to them, all of the emails that were sent to them via Knowledge Sync, all of the reports. And this is something right now that's in final testing. So let me see if I can get a link to it. I misplaced mine, as you can see.
So this is like a Facebook of Knowledge Sync, right?
What's that?
It's like a Facebook of Knowledge Sync, right? Or a wall, right?
I'm sorry.
So this is.
I didn't quite catch that.
This is like a wall of like a Facebook wall of Knowledge Sync. You can see everything what's happening, right?
Yeah, I mean, right now, if you're an individual, a subscriber that receives email or faxes or IM via Knowledge Sync, once those are sent to you, that's pretty much it, right?
That's correct.
What the alerts portal does is it provides you with a view, a secure view into all of the events that are related to you. Meaning, if I'm a subscriber to 10 events, and one of them is an AR related event, and another is like a CRM related event, or whatever, I can now go in and view any attributes and any things that were sent to me. And I'm going to hopefully show you here in a second, because I just managed to get someone to send me over the link. I'll give you at least a view as to what this looks like. So let's just take a look at this very quickly, and I'm going to show you my screen again. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
No. How about now?
I only
you can or can't see my screen?
No, I can. I only see the white. Waiting for. Yeah. Okay. Now I see your screen.
So what you're looking at here, this is our internal copy of what we call the alerts portal.
Okay.
So again, individuals within your organization can now securely log into this portal to view any alert information that's related to them. And that includes any crystal reports. There we go. Okay. So let me just do a refresh here. All right. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, I do see it.
Okay, good. I'm sorry. So what you're looking at here is just that. So I'm coming in as Bob Smith. All right. I can look at any alerts that have been sent to me. Okay. I can filter that feed. So if all I want to look at are any dashboards, okay, so I can select which data feeds I want to see. Okay, and you'll see that everything that I'm a subscriber to, I now have access to. I can also go in and look at any email that were sent to me. So any email, if an alert was triggered and an email was sent to me, I can now go in and look at that email. I can look at any instant messages that were sent to me. I can look at any dashboard alerts that were sent to me. So this is very critical because we're now putting, it's the first time we've ever done this. Typically, Knowledge Sync has been sort of a lights out application, meaning you tell Knowledge Sync what to look for within whatever application you're using. You then tell Knowledge Sync how to respond, what conditions to look for and how to respond once those conditions are met. And then Knowledge Sync pushes the information out to individuals. This is the first time we're now putting some of that responsibility on the individual. So the user themselves will now have the ability to go in and look at everything and anything that's associated to them. And they can filter that out, and anytime something new comes in, it's going to automatically appear in their portal. So this is something that's again, we've been working on this for a good part of the year. We kind of demoed it at Sage Summit and kind of had an early alpha release, but now it's in beta, and we expect that this will be done within the next month and a half. So again, the idea here is how can we get that information out to individuals, both by pushing, in the traditional sense, emailing, faxing, paging, texting, etc. But how can we also give some control to the individual so that they can decide what information they want to see? Okay. One of the other things that I don't have anything to really show you on it is Sync's. Oh, I'm sorry, I've got another call, but I'm just going to go ahead and ignore that one. We're now going to be. Are you familiar with Sage's S-Data?
Yes, it's quite new, but it's not mature yet. I mean, they have some GL support and some ARAP, but they have not finished it yet, and it's not mature yet. It's probably in 1 or 2 years when they release it.
So. We're actually working on web services for Knowledge Sync. So a couple of things that we've got right now. Number one is knowledgesync.net, which has been in development now for quite a while, but we're going to be hopefully putting the finishing touches on that soon. But the one that's more sort of ready for prime time, if you will, is the web services So we're going to be building a component into Knowledge Sync that's going to support web services, including S-data and other things.
Okay.
So the ability to update although we do allow for updating into any application, be it a CRM or ACPAC or Sales Logics or whatever, with S-data, our understanding is that update is going to be a little bit easier and more seamless. So we're going to be supporting that within the Sage world, but also we're going to have support for other web services APIs.
Okay.
And that is something that is going to be coming out by the end of this year.
Okay.
So I don't know, again, you've probably seen Knowledge Sync. I think the key differentiators, as I understand them, Roland, are one, Knowledge Sync is a monitoring and response engine. So the emphasis is really, truly on alerts and response with some workflow capabilities. And I think it's just the reverse with the Task Center. I think theirs is more of a BPM type solution that offers some alerting.
That's correct.
Ours does include the automated report distribution. Certainly one of the advantages of Knowledge Sync is its ease of use and ease of setup. Again, most organizations can be set up in under a day, depending on how many applications they want to monitor, how many conditions they want to look for, how they want Knowledge Sync to respond. That's going to vary, but typically we see implementations of being less than a day. It's also enterprise-wide. So one of the things that customers need to understand is they may be running Sage ACPAC as their primary business application, and that's okay. But more than likely, like most organizations, they probably have 2 or 3 or several other applications that they wish to monitor. So if they are, CRM application, if in fact that's a different type of application, or if they want to monitor, another MRP application, for instance, MySys is one that we want to work with. I don't know much about MySys, but I've spoken with some folks over there. I don't think they have any really alerting or workflow engine in their solution.
No.
So we're hoping that we can work closely with them, and I know that they integrate very tightly with ACPAC. So the point is that your customers, regardless of what application they're using now or in the future, will be able to use Knowledge Sync. And I just had a customer that I spoke with this morning who is currently using a Sage application. He kind of tipped his hat to me and said, look, in about another year or two, we're thinking of moving off and onto some other applications. Can we still use Knowledge Sync? And the answer is yes. So I said, yeah, you absolutely can. I mean, we've got customers that do all the time. I've got former Microsoft customers who have been using it and now are using Sage applications and are now saying, okay, we want to use Knowledge Sync. They're going to be able to use this product from now until the ODBC world goes away.
Really, my primary goal also to see the Knowledge is basically as a mean to sell the ACPAC or MySys and so on, because I think that the way to differentiate the product against other competing product manufacturing and accounting is basically through these add-on functions that catch the attention and they are very useful. So that's really why I'm sitting here today, basically to know, okay, if I have a MySys prospect, then selling it through MySys is fine, but I see so many MySys demos or manufacturing demos, I want to see them something different. And the way differentiating yourself, basically to show them, okay, here's how it can be very useful for you. So that would be good, actually. So, and it's a different approach, but I think it will work.
The reason why I approached MySys is we have a library, Roland, of about 70 event packs, and these event packs are pre-configured business conditions that are specific to the application, but also generic enough so that you can show them and customers can use them out of the box. And a good number of those are Sage applications, but we also have ones for SAP, we have ones for Microsoft, we have other specific sort of vertical applications, Exact, Macola. We've got all these event packs, and one of the reasons I approached MySys is I wanted to get an event pack that's specific to MySys, that can monitor conditions within MySys, so that when we open up Knowledge Sync, you will see a branch that says Sage ACPAC, MySys, and any other application that they want to see. So I don't know if that addresses the comment that you just made about making it relevant, because I think that's the important part is how do you make this relevant to, one, the application that the customer is using it, and two, how they envision using it with that application.
That's correct. That's not a good point.
The best and easiest way for us to do that is through these event packs, these pre-configured event packs. And what you're looking at here, right here, I've just downloaded about 10 or so event packs that we've created. And again, we've got well over 70 of them that are available for free to any customer that comes to our website or business partner.
Okay.
Let me see if I can show you my list here. But again, I think one of the things that we might want to do is I can send over to you the document, the product comparison.
Yeah.
If you look at this list, can you still see my screen?
Yes.
This is a partial list of the event packs that we have. And you'll see on the right-hand side, there are certainly a lot of Sage applications, and that's partially because Knowledge Sync is endorsed for Sage, and we've got a pretty strong relationship with them. But you'll also notice that there are a bunch of other ones that are very specific to certain applications, to vertical applications, and quite frankly, even other ERP applications. SAP, Syspro, Deltek, we've got a whole bunch of other ones too. And I think that's really where we see customers being attracted to it and saying, okay, here's what I run in my business. Show me what Knowledge Sync can do.
So I go just there and I will look at those. This is accessible to public?
Public domain.
Okay, so I will just look at those.
You can go to vineyardsoft.com. You can go to the download section, and it'll ask you to just register quickly, and then it will prompt you with this list of pre-configured event packs. These are very, very small files, so that when you open these files, it's going to prompt, if you have Knowledge Sync installed, it's going to prompt you to open up Knowledge Sync, and it's going to ask you to install it. They install within a matter of a split second.
Oh,
I'll show you an example. Let me look at one for you know what? Let's do QuoteWorks instead, because I work more closely with QuoteWorks.
QuoteWorks is very, very well known, actually. So yes, QuoteWorks.
I'm sorry?
It's very familiar. I'm very familiar with QuoteWorks.
Yeah. I can even look at one for Salesforce.com that we did. Let's look at Heat. Heat's pretty well known. So here's going to do. It's going to prompt me. This is a very small, what we call a KSE file. All right. It's going to ask me to install it, and you'll see it's done. Now, when I go back into my Knowledge Sync Event Manager, we should see Heat.
Mm-hmm.
So it's now automatically. Now all I need to do is set up that connection, right, between Heat and an ODBC data source, which I don't think I have one for Heat, but anyway. But I can still look at the events. I can still look and say, well, I've got all these events here. And this Heat is an ITSM application for tracking IT and service-related calls. So this is just one example of one of the many event packs that we've configured. And if you've got, I would encourage you, if you've got applications like MySys or others that you folks support or have customers using, we'd be happy to start building event packs for those. We have a team of folks here that do just that. They spend a good part of their week designing event packs for third-party applications. With the idea being that we want to make these available to customers so that they can evaluate them and also provide them with some out-of-the-box functionality.
That's correct. Now, I know that with Sage you have some form of, I will have a look at the prices because I haven't seen the prices since last year, but with Sage you have a free version of Knowledge Sync that the clients can try, basically try before you buy. Now, do you have something similar to other non-Sage like MySys and again the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't matter. The only difference between Knowledge Sync and Sage Knowledge Sync is the Sage name. If you go to www.sageknowledgesync.com and download Knowledge Sync, it's going to be labeled as Sage Knowledge Sync because that is part of the endorsed agreement that we have with them. If you come to our website, vineyardsoft.com, right here, you're going to be downloading what I would refer to as the generic version of Knowledge Sync. Okay, so this is basically where you'll just register quickly. You'll download Knowledge Sync. Okay, you'll specify what you need it for. What that gives them is the full working version of Knowledge Sync. All features are enabled, so it includes the reporting capability, the workflow. It's got unlimited database connections, so if they want to use it to monitor multiple applications, say their ERP and their CRM or a third application, they can use that. This is the full software. What's great about this one, Roland, is if they work with this software and decide that they want to implement it, any work they've done can be retained.
Okay.
So as long as they don't uninstall the application, any work that they've done will be retained, and they can just literally pick up and start implementing.
In terms of the downloading this, so basically this is what I can tell the customer to try out, or is it still something we have to do and install it and set it up? I just don't know how easy it is to configure, let's say, to work with
It's actually very easy to configure because, one, it doesn't require a dedicated server.
Okay.
All right, so it's very low on the resources, both in terms of hardware and software. A lot of folks will put it on a laptop or a desktop for evaluation.
Okay.
But in terms of this download, this is open to business partners, customers, prospects, whomever. So if they want to download it, all they're going to do is follow the instructions. What we normally do is when they register for this, we send them a link to download the software and install it. But we also attach a link for the installation manual.
Okay.
And it's just automatically, depending on their operating system, it's going to default to the program file group.
Okay.
They'll install it there. They just literally it's a very quick install, and they can, as I said, they can be up and running in a matter of a few minutes.
Okay. So just install it on the virtual machine and that's it. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right, good.
So again, I think there are lots of things, and I'd be happy to outline in an email to you some of the things you can expect from us as a partner, as well as what your customers can expect. And then subsequently, I have that document that I can forward over to you that
fantastic.
Our partners did about a year and a half ago, or a year ago, sort of in their own evaluation when they started looking at Task Center and Knowledge Sync. And I will say that I know that there are a handful of customers myself that are using both.
Yeah, there is some of that.
In some cases, they went straight to Task Center and realized that it wasn't doing some things that they needed it to do. So then they added Knowledge Sync.
Yeah.
And in other cases, they had Knowledge Sync, but they needed to do more, business process management stuff that Task Center was better at.
There's some overlap, and again, there's some overlap, but there are some areas where, the Knowledge Sync is built for that and not for this, and Task Center is built for something else. So I see it as a complementary solution, not necessarily as a competing solution, but I want to know, okay, if the client is looking for a business process solution, then the Task Center would be a better choice. If the client is looking for alerts, monitoring, response, dashboard solution, and intelligent reports, queries and so on, Knowledge Sync would be much better choice. So you don't need to build those things that reinvent the wheel.
You're absolutely right. We've got to keep the customer's requirements and their needs at the forefront.
Exactly.
If there's something that the customer wants that Knowledge Sync is not going to be very strong at, we'll be the first to admit that. We don't want to try to force fit something in that's, one, either not going to work or it's just going to require a tremendous amount of programming work to get it done.
Exactly.
There's no sense in doing that.
Exactly.
And I think Sage recognized that. I think Sage recognized that when it came to alerts and workflow, no one did it better than Knowledge Sync. No one did it better than us, which is why they endorsed us for so many of their key products. But they partner with the folks at Orbis too, with Task Center. And I think they recognize the value there, and I think that we're playing nicely in the same sandbox.
Okay, so Greg, I'm going to download it on the virtual machine. I'm going to play with it. I think that's the best approach to see, okay, these are sample scenarios. This is how it's going to use. Then I will have the right mindset when I'm speaking with the customers, because I see the Knowledge Sync basically being the leading, actually the simplifying sale of an ACPAC on my system. And that's why I'm looking at this, basically to differentiate myself and again provide value to the customer. So I will download it, I will try it out, and if you can forward me the PDF would be great, the document there are
Yeah, I
outlining
will. In fact, what
differences.
I'll do is, why don't I send you a link to the download, and then I'll have. If you're going to download on a virtual machine, my guess is it's going to be like a 64-bit operating system.
That's
Is that
correct.
right?
That's correct.
And if that's the case, that's perfectly fine. Knowledge Sync will support that. But when you set up the ODBC connection, you just have to use a 32-bit ODBC device manager.
Okay.
Okay? But in terms of it running on the later operating systems, be it 2008 or 7 or Vista or whatever, it's going to work fine.
Okay. So we'll do that. And do you have any? I guess on the website, do you have some success stories on the website? Like what I would like to do, I
Yeah.
would like to
In
have a
fact,
look at
there's
all
one
some
that's
some.
very powerful. He's using it with an ERP application, and he's one of those people who I think his quote to us was that Knowledge Sync is the equivalent of 2 to 3 employees because of the way that he's automated a lot of things, including report delivery and invoicing, but also in terms of monitoring his inventory levels. He runs a network of about 5 manufacturing facilities in North America, and so looking at stock items and looking at the average cost and whether or not the cost is going up or down, what the inventory levels are, all very critical to his business. But those are very critical parts. And again, on the MySys side, I would love to talk with you, and that's what I initially spoke with Clyde about was, how do we build an event pack for MySys?
Yeah.
And I'm going to call Dave Brown, who I think is the president over there, and see if I can get his attention again, because he and I had spoken about a year ago. So
What I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out to some of our clients we have, some clients that we have that are die-hard fans for MySys, because I think that would be a good case to start. With die-hard fans for MySys, I know we have some clients who would die for MySys, even though they really took some hits when MySys moved away from MacPack to the way it looks now today, basically the MySys SBM. But I would start with that. So I will download the software. I will play with it around. I thought the success story is not so much for me to believe about the product, but so much to learn about some sample applications and early applications. But I think once I have a look at the trial version of it, once I download it, I will see basically what it can do, and based on that, I will have an idea.
And if there are specific events that you want to look at building,
exactly,
and you need our assistance with it, just let me know.
Okay.
And if I can't do it with you, I'll get a resource that can.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, great. So that's good. That's a good start. And I will get back to basic.
Hey,
I will have a look at some
MySys.
Sorry?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, we'll have a look at basically some clients we have in MySys, and I think it would be a good start basically to look at that.
Great.
That.
And so give me till early afternoon today, and I'll email over the link to the download, some other collateral that I think will be useful for you, including case studies on how different customers are using it with different applications.
Exactly, that would be fantastic.
And also the comparison that we did, our partners did for Task Center and Knowledge Sync.
Fantastic. Good, great.
All right. Well, hey, again, if we need to repeat this for some of your other colleagues there, just let me know. Happy to do it anytime.
I just recorded it, so it's on YouTube. No, it's not YouTube, but I did record it. So.
Oh, good. That'll get all of about 4 hits.
You'll get lots of sales.
Not terribly exciting for the YouTube community, I'm afraid.
But I will share it with my colleagues. So in case any questions, I think that should be sufficient for now.
And as I said, if they've not seen it and they want to go through a more kind of structured demo as you did 2 years ago, we'd be happy to do that too.
Very good, Craig. So thanks a lot. This is very helpful. Good chat with you, and talk to you soon.
Yes, and again, thanks for. I know we've been trying to do this for a month, so let's just keep the conversation going, and we'll see what we can do to help you guys sell some Knowledge Sync.